Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is that you're watching. I pray that you guys have had a blessed week. I pray that the favor of God has been on you and that the hand of God has revealed himself to you. I want to speak to you guys today about what we've continued on called Who Are You Connected? With the focus on prayer. Who is it that you're connected to that is increasing your prayer, that is helping you increase your prayer, that's helping you become a deeper man in prayer, helping you become, deeper in crying out to God, interceding. Who's been teaching you how to pray, teaching you how to intercede, teaching you how to seek the face of God? Who is it that you're connected to that helps you do that? So I want to come from two verses, two different scriptures. First, we're going to read Matthew 17, verse 1 through 8. And then we're going to read Galatians 5 through 6, 5, verse 16. So Matthew 17, verse 1 through 8 says, "And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into a high mountain, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white with the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto James, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, one for Moses, and one for Elias. And while he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I'm well pleased. Hear ye him. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their faces and were sore afraid. And Jesus came and touched them, and said, Arise, be not afraid. And when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Jesus only. Now Galatians 5, verse 16 says, This I say to you, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. So walk in the Spirit. Walking in the Spirit is an action of will. You should always be moving in the Spirit. You should not be stagnant. You should not, be like, okay, I'm praying for 5 minutes a day, but it's 2 years later and you're still praying 5 minutes a day. Where is your movement in prayer? You should be increasing 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, but you must continuously be moving in the Spirit, moving in prayer. See, when you move in the Spirit, you move in prayer. And when you move in prayer, you move in the Spirit. We must not allow ourselves to become stagnant. We cannot call ourselves intercessors if we are continuing to stay in the same position that we were at before. We must continue to move in the Spirit. You cannot go back to where you were. Meaning, so if you are at the place now where you're praying 30 minutes a day, you can't go back to just praying 5 minutes a day. We must make forward momentum. You must make forward momentum in prayer. Forward momentum in prayer produces forward momentum in the Spirit. And forward momentum in the Spirit releases miracles, it releases breakthrough, it releases encounters. So whoever you're connected to should help you with your forward momentum. You should be, when you hear them pray, when you watch them pray, when they teach you how to pray, it should be something inside of you that causes a burning to say, I want to pray more. I want to encounter God more. I want to seek more. I want to walk in the Spirit more. So are you connected to somebody that when they teach on prayer, when they pray, that it makes you want to keep moving? And I said, are you connected to me? Do you have a relationship with somebody? Not, oh, I watched somebody's YouTube tutorials on how to pray and things like that, but who in your church, around your church, or in your life are you connected to that is actually teaching you how to pray, teaching you how to go higher in prayer, teaching you how to walk in the Spirit? Because if you're not connected to somebody, there's going to be a stagnancy of where you can get. There's going to be a stoppage of where you can go in the Spirit because you don't have somebody to help you shift and come up to the next level. In Matthew, it says that Jesus took them up to a mountain apart. He said he took them up and apart. So he took them up apart from the others. There was 12 disciples, but he only took 3. And he took those disciples and he set them apart from the others. So sometimes to get to the next level, you got to be separated from the others. Yeah, you may be serving together with the same person, but sometimes you got to be a little bit separate. You got to cling a little bit more to that person that God placed in your life to help you go to the next level in the spirit. Sometimes the people that you're serving with may want to go watch a movie together, but you may have a burden like, you know what? This man or woman of God told me, like, okay, at this certain time I should be praying. So I'm going to miss out on the movies today, guys, because I want to come apart. I want to go higher in the spirit. Sometimes to get to the next level, you have to be separate. And everybody is not hungry for the more. So just because there might be people that's serving with you, walking with you, does not mean that they're hungry to go to the next level. So when you're really connected to the right person, they'll make sure that you're connected to Jesus. And when you're connected to Jesus, you're going to encounter another level of intimacy that you have not before. How do we know? Because in Matthew 17, as we just read, it said that his face changed in front of him. And also his clothes changed. So the face represented intimacy. So what it is they were able to see another side of Jesus that others had not seen. They had not seen him in this level of prayer. They had not seen what prayer really does to a man until they were set apart with Jesus. Then they were able to see, wait a minute, when you really tap into prayer, when you really walk in the spirit, it causes you to move this way. It causes you to be this way. It causes the things to change about you. Remember when Moses was up on the mountain talking to God, he came down and his face shined so bright, he had to cover his face. Remember Joshua that was with Moses. When Moses would come out of the temple talking to God, Joshua would go in. When Moses was going up to the mountain to talk to God, Joshua was behind him. Joshua didn't go all the way up, but Joshua was still with him. So how far are you willing to go to encounter something you haven't encountered before? And not just the way he looked, but the way he dressed was changed also. So when you really have an encounter, when you really are connected to somebody that is connected to Jesus to teach you how to pray, you are going to begin to see things, a level of Jesus that you've never seen before. You're going to encounter a walk with him that you have not before. You're going to encounter an intimacy with him that you have not before. And that level of intimacy produces a miracle. It produces a breakthrough. It causes your eyes to open. It causes you to see things differently. You see him covered differently. He said the clothes changed. He was covered differently. So you'll see your covering even different. Everything about the person who is mentoring is going to look different. But then all of a sudden, your eye, the way you see things will be different because you saw something that stirred up a hunger in you to want to see different. You'll see things that would seem. So if you remember, he went and then they saw Jesus talking to Moses and Elijah. These are men that were hundreds of years before they even born. And they see Jesus talking to them. These are men that already was supposed to have been dead. But yet, when you get to another level, when you're connected to the right person, and they bring you to Jesus, you will also see things in prayer that may seem impossible. You're going to hear things that may seem impossible that you couldn't even think of. Because seeing dead men speak, that's impossible. Oh, it's impossible to have Moses and Elijah right there talking to Jesus. So what kind of things can you hear in the spirit? When you are really connected to the right person who will help advance you in prayer, help bring you to another level in prayer, it is going to cause you to see things you've never seen and hear things you never heard. It will erase impossible right out of your vocabulary. So therefore, nothing that you begin to believe for, nothing that you want to see, no miracles will ever begin to be impossible, will ever be impossible, because you have just seen something that was impossible. When you walk in the spirit, when you're in the spirit realm, there is no possible, nothing is off limits. Nothing is impossible. It's a limited possibility of things that can happen. Limbs can grow out, organs can grow out. Your body can change. You can have supernatural weight loss. There is nothing impossible. All the things that you see in movies that may seem like, man, that's impossible, that can't really happen. All things can happen. Because when you're moving in the Spirit of God transforms things. Transform your body, transform your atmosphere, transform the space. Because the Spirit of God moves on the face of the water. That's how it started in the beginning. In the beginning was the Word. It said the Spirit of God moved on the face of the water. So in the beginning, the Spirit of God moved. So the Spirit of God is always moving. So if you need movement in your life, if you need to go to another level, you got to continue to be in the Spirit and keep moving. So after they saw that, Peter said, it's good for us to be. So what it was Peter realized it was good for them that they were connected to Jesus enough for him to bring them up and set them apart. So, and because of the stuff that you see when you're connected to that man or woman of God that is going to help you increase in prayer and walking in the Spirit, you're going to realize, wait a minute, it was good for me to be connected to them. Some people may have talked bad about them. Some people may have said this wasn't right. But when you begin to see the evidence of walking in the Spirit, in the movement of the Spirit, you'll begin to say, wait a minute, it's good for me to be here. It's good for me to walk in the Spirit. It's good for me to see this, because I never saw it before. I never thought it could even happen. But then all of a sudden, you are in position to see something that you thought was impossible. It's good for you to be in that position because it opened your eyes. So the right person, when you're connected to the right person of prayer that trains you in prayer and intercession, is going to cause you to feel like, yeah, I'm in the right place. I'm in the right place. It also said that Peter wanted to build an altar to remember that new encounter that they had, to never forget it. And when they built altars back then, it was because they wanted to remember, this is where God encountered me, and this is how he encountered me, how I encountered the Lord. So they're like, okay, let's build a tabernacle here. Let's build an altar here, a place where we can always remember, where we can honor and remember, this is where we encounter the Lord. This is where we stepped into another level in the Spirit. That way, no matter how many times they walk back by that area, they'll always remember, this is where I had the encounter with God. This is the city I was in where I had the encounter. This is the church I was in where I had the encounter. This is the spot that I stood where I have the encounter. Being connected to the right person of prayer and intercession, it calls you to have a place where you'll say, wait, I never want to forget this. They also heard what it sounded like for God to appoint you as a son. So we talk about living in sonship and being in sonship, being children of God, but they actually heard God himself speak about his son. This is my son, in whom I'm well pleased. So they begin to understand, okay, as sonship, walking in sonship, that means you are pleased by the Father. And that all came because they were connected to the right person to bring them up to the level of the Spirit. If they were not in that position, they would not have ever been in position to even understand, this is how I know if I'm walking in true sonship. This is how I know if somebody else is walking in true sonship, because the Lord will declare that he is well pleased. Being to the right person, it says that when they heard God speak, that they fell on their face. Being connected to the right person is going to keep you connected. It's going to keep you on your face before God. is going to keep you crying out and praying out to God. You're not going to feel like enough's enough. You're not going to feel stagnant. You're not going to feel like, okay, well, I did my 30 minutes and I'm satisfied. No, it's going to cause you to stay on your face because you want more. Then it says that Jesus came and touched them, told them to arise and be not afraid. So being connected to the right person in prayer will cause you to be touched by Jesus in a way that is going to cause you to arise from where you're at. And it's going to break fear off of you from going to another place. Sometimes it's hard to step into your dreams, even though you keep trying to pray about it. It's hard to step into it because you still have fear. But when you're really connected to that man of prayer, that woman of prayer, that intercessor, and they begin to teach you and bring you up higher, set you apart, help you learn how to walk in the spirit, it's going to break fear off of you. And you won't be afraid to go to another level with God and another level in prayer. So I want you to be encouraged today. I want you to be strengthened. I want you to know that the Lord has more for you, that the Lord wants you to come up higher, that He wants you to learn how to walk in the Spirit. But the question is, who are you connected to that will help you come up higher? Well, I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you what to be. Be prayerful, be blessed, and be connected to a person of prayer. See you soon. Peace.